What's going on, guys? Welcome to this video in which you likely clicked on this video because you want to learn how to be a master in TikTok ads, right? Whether you own a brand and you want to learn how to run advertising, successful advertising that is on TikTok, or whether maybe you're a freelancer, maybe you work in an agency, you want to learn how to run successful TikTok ads that generate a high return on ad spend. And let me tell you, my friend, that's exactly what you're gonna learn in this video, right? By the end of this video, you're gonna learn not only how to create a TikTok ad, but how to create it successfully. The type of campaign that you should be creating, the audiences that you should be creating, the different ads that you should be creating, how to optimize your ads, like the video and things of that essence, right? The average order value that is typically very successful in TikTok, the different type of campaigns that are on TikTok. This is going to be a TikTok masterclass in which we're going to turn you from a newbie to an expert in about 45 minutes or less. I will try to adhere to that time frame. But my name is Frank Kenny, and I run lionmediaad.com, which is a performance marketing agency in which we run TikTok ads for brands, YouTube ads, Google ads, Facebook and Instagram ads, and even CTV, right? So in this particular video, we're just gonna focus on TikTok, right? So buckle up, grab a cup of coffee, which I got mine over here, an espresso, energy drink, whatever you need to get started. But before we jump in, let me give you, before we jump in, let's talk a little bit about TikTok, right? So TikTok is still a relatively new platform, regardless that, people are talking about being banned and things like that, which I don't think is gonna happen if that's something that you're concerned about, because this is something that has tried to happen before, not only with TikTok, but with other media companies, such as like Facebook, even Instagram, and even Google, right? I don't think that's the case. I don't think that's something that's gonna happen regardless of what is going on in the news, right? So that's just my viewpoint on that. But over the past couple of years, we've seen a rise in TikTok ads, not only in terms of users, but the amount of time people spend consuming content on TikTok. It has surpassed even YouTube, right? And so TikTok is one of the most watched or consumed platform on social media right now, right? And so you being a brand owner or you owning a specific company, it's like, okay, how do I take advantage of this, right? How do I capture some of that attention that is on TikTok? And then how do I generate revenue from that attention that I've captured, right? And again, this is all the things that we're gonna break down in this specific video, right? And not every brand is successful on TikTok, right? We've tested TikTok ads. We've tested a lot of different brands on TikTok ads, like spending over like $50,000 to $100,000 plus in ad spend, and some have seen a lot of success. As you guys will see some examples in here, right? I'm gonna take you into the different ad accounts and show you how much we spend, right? And essentially like the results that were generated from the spend on those accounts. Like I'm talking about like the revenue, like the return on ad spend, and a host of other metrics too as well, right? So it's not every brand that is successful on TikTok, right? And I'll give you the reasons why. I'll tell you the reasons why, right? But now that we got that out of the way, right? So you're just getting on TikTok. What do you need? What do you need to get set up, right? The number one thing you need to set up is a TikTok business center account, right? Or if you're familiar with like a Facebook, it's essentially like a Facebook Ads Manager account, right? So it's called a business center account, right? So within that, this is where you have all your TikTok assets, right? This is where you essentially connect your TikTok page, right? Your TikTok page, your pixel, TikTok pixel, and your TikTok product catalog as well, which is directly integrated between Shopify and TikTok, right? If you use other e-commerce website, it might be a little bit different, but with Shopify it's relatively easy just to connect the two, right? So this I'm talking about within the pixel and in addition to the product catalogs, right? So those are some of the things that you're gonna need. So once again, you created like a TikTok business center account, right? You've set up an ad account and you've created a pixel, you integrated it within your Shopify, and you've also connected your page, right? And then once you got that set up, you're ready to get started, right? So what I'm gonna do is share my screen with you guys, and then we're gonna walk through this, right? We're gonna go through the TikTok Ads Manager account and what you need to actually run ads successfully, and how do you create the campaigns, the audiences, and the ads, and a host of different things as well, right? So as you can see on my screen over here, right, I'm gonna just kind of walk you through the different things that you can do on TikTok, right? So within the TikTok, you have the Audience Manager. This is essentially where you go and create new audiences upon having already received data, right? Say for example that you've had set up a pixel before, a TikTok pixel on your website, and you were running traffic using other sources like Facebook, Instagram, or even Google, right? Some of that data is going to be crossed back into TikTok, right? Some of that data is going to cross, and the pixel is going to start accumulating some of that data, right? Without you having to run ads on TikTok, right? So that's a possibility, right? And I say this because this is an example. This is something that we, tend to happen with the brand that we're about to run you through, right? So we were running Facebook ads and we were running Google ads, and then we had a TikTok pixel. Even though we weren't running ads on it, we started to accumulate data, right? We started to accumulate data, and it's like when we look at the size of the audience over here, we're starting to see oh man, like we've built quite an audience already, right? But so nonetheless, so what you see over here is the different type of audience that we've created, right? So one of the audiences that we created was an engaged clicked 90 days, right? Meaning somebody must have clicked on an ad that we've created specifically on TikTok, right? They've engaged or they've clicked on our ad and then we look at the look back window. It's up to 90 days, right? You can expand that if you wanted to. And another one is add to carts within the past 60 days, right? And we can see the size of that audience, 11,000 people plus, right? And then we can see the number of completed payment, meaning somebody have paid, went to our website and purchased a product on that website, right? And we can see the completion rate on that, the size of that audience. This is how many people have done that, right? And the reason why we really want to create this is, one, we can use exclusion when we're doing retargeting campaigns, right? And in addition to that, we can run a retention campaign, meaning at some point in time, you do want to run that to essentially get users that have already purchased a product to come back and purchase again, right? And then we also have a page view, meaning individuals that have visited a specific page on our website, right? So this is the audience section. And if you want to create a new audience, you simply go here and create a new audience. And again, this is all contingent if you have data. If you're just getting started brand new, you won't have any of this, right? So you won't have any of this. So that's that. Let's go back to tools, right? So let's look at the creative library, because the creative is really going to be the key to success on TikTok, right? So looking at the creative library, you can see all the creative that you have in this specific account, right? As you can see in this one, this is all the creatives that we've had in this account. And you can kind of see the stats that these creatives have generated, right? So you can see like how much we spend on, running this specific creative, and like the cost per click, CPM, impressions, click-through rate, right? So you can see that. So it's important to know that you can go in here and then see specific creative analytics, right? And then another thing here as well, let's do creative library, analytics. So this is going back to creative as well, right? So if you have been running ads in this account, if you have been running campaigns in TikTok, you can come in here and essentially look at the creative that has been the most successful in the account. As you can see over here, we've had multiple creatives in here. We ran multiple creative in this specific account, and you can kind of see the stats over here. Oh, like this is probably like our most successful one. If we look at the conversion, if you look at the conversion, this is probably our most successful one. Right now, the conversion is, it's predicated upon like the event that you're optimizing for. So if you optimize for complete purchases or add to cart or view content, right? So that's what the conversion stands for, right? And so again, you can just kind of see the different performance of these different creative, right? And then based upon like the best performing one, you can take that and recreate something similar, right? So I think it's very important to note that. All right, let's go back here. So we have, what else do I want to walk you guys through? So I think that's a pretty good place to start, right? That's a pretty good place to start. Now let's go to campaign. Let's go to the campaign level on TikTok, right? Now, in this section, I'm gonna walk you through how to create a brand new campaign on TikTok. I'm gonna walk you through the different campaign types. I'm gonna walk you through different audiences that you can pick on TikTok, and we're gonna run through some videos examples, right? So looking at this, so if you're just getting started, you've had your business center all set up, right? And you've had an ad account connected, and then you have your pixel set up. So you'll be prompted to come in here and create a new ad, right? So you go on there, you create a new ad, and you'll be prompted to come to the specific screen. Okay, cool. What do I do when I come over here, right? And let me tell you, if you want conversion and you're not necessarily focused on brand awareness, don't worry about these other things over here, right? don't worry about these. The main things that you want to focus on is website conversion. That is if you're an e-commerce brand, and this is specifically what this tutorial is about, or this masterclass is about, specific for e-commerce brand. And I may do another one specific for lead gen, but website conversion, the main two that we typically focus on is website conversion and product sale. And I'll walk you through what every single one of those are. So website conversion, as you hover over that like this, you'll see that, you have the option to select smart performance campaign, right? Smart performance campaigns. We've tested this. It's a hit and miss. I typically don't select that, right? And essentially this is selecting this it gives a lot of autonomy on, to TikTok to essentially manage your campaigns for you, right? So we typically don't want to give TikTok as much control, right? We want the control, right? And so typically I don't select this. So, and then without selecting that, I just go on to next and continue the campaign. But we're not gonna do that just yet. I want to show you what the other product type is, right? So when you click on product sales, then you come over here, you're prompted with two different options, right? And we're gonna focus a little bit of time on this, right? So first of all, you have what is TikTok Shop, right? And I'll show you exactly what a TikTok Shop is. So I'm gonna change my screen, and then we're gonna look at the specific page over here, and just to really highlight what a TikTok Shop is. Okay, so looking at this, right? This is an example of what a TikTok Shop is, right? So TikTok Shop essentially allows you, the brand, and other creators to be able to sell the products online. By, for example, if you were to do a live video about the brand, right, showcasing different products or whatever that is, but a live video, you can, as you see over here, you can display specific products. You can display products that individuals that are connected, that are live with you, they would just click on the link that is displayed on the video, and then it would take them directly to where they can purchase that specific product. I think this may be a better way of doing that. So for example, look at this one. So this is a live video, right? And you see you have the product displayed over here. Individuals can click on that video as she's doing a live tutorial of how to put up the specific, using this brush. It also has that product on that specific live. So individuals can just click on that, and then it will take them where they can directly purchase that product. This is a fantastic way of generating revenue when doing live. Before you weren't able to do that, but now you are able to do that. And I think it's a very valuable product type that you can run, right? And then you also have what is TikTok Shop, which is individuals can click on an ad, and then it will take them to something like this, right? Which is especially like TikTok Shop, to where you can see the different type of products without going to the website of the brand. You can, again, this is on the platform itself. Without going to the website, you can look at the different products that they have, and then you can purchase from them. Now, the only caveat with this, as we tested this, we don't see a lot of success with brands that have a higher AOV, like above like $60, $80, or $100. We don't see a lot of success with that, all right? So it's typically brands that have a lower average AOV that do see a lot of success with TikTok Shop, right? And again, I want to emphasize that if you're a brand that has a very expensive product, right, like around $70 to $80, $90 to $100, TikTok Shop may not be the best for you, right? It may not be the best for you. And the reason why is because just looking at over like 5,000 data points, we've come to understand that in terms of like the purchase conversion cycle, which is the length of time that it requires an individual to see a product and purchase the product, right? And so typically when an individual sees a product, that time elapsed is what is called a purchase cycle or a consideration stage, right? And the higher the product, the more elongated that time is, right? And the cheaper the product, meaning the lower the price point of that product, the shorter that time frame is. If you sell a $10, $20 product, an individual may not need to think too much about spending $20 on a product, right? Because there's no drastic loss on his end if the product doesn't turn out to be good or it's not exactly what he wanted. It's $20. To some people, it's going to be $10. For some people, it's going to be $30, right? So that's a very important thing to notate over here, right? If you have a lower price point product, TikTok Shop will work very, very well for you, right? Okay, cool. Let's go back here. And so the next thing that you'll see is a catalog, right? And so what is a catalog campaign? So I want to take you through this specific example here on this blog and show you what a catalog campaign is. Right. So a catalog campaign essentially is a dynamic campaign from TikTok. As you connect your product catalog on TikTok, right, TikTok can essentially just kind of rotate through that product, right, dynamically. It can rotate through different products. And let's see if I have an example over here. Product catalog campaign. So it could look something like this, right? It could look something like this. TikTok will rotate through different products from your catalog, right? And individuals can just, you know, it's very dynamic, right? We don't necessarily know how that happens. This is all TikTok, but it's dynamic, right? So TikTok will rotate through different products from your product catalog and then display that, right? We do see some success with that, and we'll walk you through some different examples when we get into more specific ad account. So those are the different type of campaigns that you will see. So we went through the website conversions, right? And we also went through product sales. So we talked about the TikTok shop and the products, TikTok product catalog, right? Which is also known as video shopping ad, or VSA, right? And again, let me show you an example of that again. So VSA are essentially, I mean, what I actually just showed you guys. Which is, this is a VSA, right? Video shopping ad, right? As a video is playing, right, there's going to be a product displayed. It could be the same product that is on the video, right? Or it could be something different, right? So that's what a video shopping ad is on TikTok. Okay, so let's go back. So typically, as I mentioned, I will start out with website conversion and do not pick the smart performance campaign. I don't think it's just well optimized yet to be successful, right? So especially if you're starting brand new, do not pick that, right? And as you get over here, right, the next thing that you want to do really is, let's go to set a budget. So you can set a budget here, a campaign level budget, right? So at minimum, it's going to be $50 that you can set. Okay, cool. So we've set a campaign level budget. And then the next thing that you have to come in is like, you have to select the pixel, right? It's very important to have a pixel. So you have to select your pixel, and then you select the event that you're optimizing for. Okay, this is gonna be very important over here. You have to be, when you're starting out brand new, right, you wanna optimize for upper funnel event. So meaning view content, right? So as you view content, you have add to cart, and you have complete purchases, right? So eventually the goal is you start with view content, train the pixel a little bit, get some data, and then you move further down the funnel, add to cart, and eventually to complete purchases, right? So view content is the first thing that we're gonna optimize for, right? And then as you go over here, and we're gonna then look at different targeting, right? So be as open and broad as possible, especially with TikTok, right? So targeting the United States is probably gonna be the best. If you're an e-commerce brand, you ship within the United States, you want to target the entire United States, right? And then if you already know what your target demographic is, obviously you can kind of select that, but I typically start with all. Right, and then optimize. As you see the analytics, you optimize towards the people that are purchasing your product, right? So always leave that to all, and then household income, you leave that to all, and then as we get further down, let's go into the specific interest audiences. So I always start out with an interest audience, right? So we're gonna create two assets, one with an interest audience and one with a broad audience, right? So interest audience, we're gonna do. So since this is a jewelry brand, we are going to do, let's do jewelry. High-end jewelry, that's one of the things that we're gonna pick. Ordinary jewelry, we can do that as well. Jewelries, body jewelries, silver, personal jewelry, body. Yep, we already got that. And so we can start with that, right? Another thing that you could do here as well is you can do specific hashtags. So I like to do hashtags. So let's do jewelry. Okay, ordinary jewelry. Okay, we already got that in there. So let's look at different hashtags. For example, you can do fashion week, right? We'll do a fashion week hashtag, right? And then boom. So that's the first set of audience that we've selected. So we have an interest layered with hashtags on TikTok, right? And then we set the budget here to be $50. Okay, cool. And then you go down. And yes, we want conversion, and then the next thing that you go is next. Right, so that's the next thing that you do. And then preceding that, what you want to do now is, this is the ad level. This is a very important part of TikTok. Is if you don't have good video creative, you're not going to be very successful on TikTok, right? And so already what we can do, we want to do single videos, and we want to pick from the library, right? Because we already have assets over here, and we have a lot of different videos. So we're going to do 1, we're going to do 2, we're going to do 3, we're going to do 4, we want to do 5. So we have 5 different ads that we can select and we can test, as you can see them over here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, right? So we have 5 creative that we're going to be testing. Do the text over here, something simple, shop now, right? I mean, you do want to be kind of creative with the text, but I don't think it's a very important thing, because the video is what is gonna sell. So we'll just put shop now in there, and then we're gonna send them to the home page, and then quite honestly, that's it. That's really it. All you need to do, right? Obviously, just one thing you want to make sure you have the pixel attached over here. You have the pixel attached to it, because that's what's going to be tracking, and you're going to be able to essentially see the analytics of the campaigns, the audiences, and then the creative too as well. So you want to make sure that your thing is connected, right? And then you also want to make sure that the page is set up. You want to make sure that the page is set up over here, and then you just name the specific creative, right? And so you go to the first one, you name what that creative is, and then you go to the second one, you name what that specific creative is, and then the next thing that you do, really, you just launch and you submit it. Right? You just obviously you have to put a text for all of them, but you launch and then you submit that, right? Guys, it's not hard to set up a TikTok campaign, right? The main thing that you just want to do is you want to make sure that you have good creatives on TikTok. You want to make sure you have good creatives on TikTok, right? So that's how you set up a campaign, and that's how you launch it. The only reason I'm not able to launch it here is because I have to input the text for all the different ads that I've selected, right? So that's how you set up a TikTok campaign. And so the next thing that you can do after you launch that, right, you can go back and exit without saving and launch a different ad set or a different ad group, right? It's over here. You come over here to this campaign, and then what you can do here is create a different ad group, and then just do the same thing, but just don't select any interest audiences. You just leave it as broad as possible, right? As you can see in this one, we turned it off because it just wasn't performing as much, and then we saw the jewelry interest to be the top performing one, and so that's the one that we've been rolling with, right? Now the next thing that I want to do is dive into specific accounts, and then we can kind of see the performance of some of the other campaigns that we've deployed and we've tested, right? So if you look at the entirety of this account, we spent $113,000. Yeah, $113,000, $113,118.75, right? So that's out of all the campaigns that we've ran. Right? And one thing that you'll notice is that the CPM on TikTok is very cheap compared to any other other platforms out there. So that's one of the advantages with TikTok is it's very cheap to run ads on here in terms of the CPM. It has the lowest CPM across every other social platform. It's lower than Meta, or lower than Facebook, right? So that's one of the advantages that TikTok has. Very low CPMs, very cheap to run ads over here, right? And then we can see how much what the click is. You can see what the click-through rate is, and then over here you see what the completed return on ad spend is. Right, for this specific brand, we did very good. We got a 6.57 return on ad spend, which is very good on TikTok. That's very good. Typically on TikTok, tracking is very hard. Tracking is still something that they're working on, right? But in this specific case, we're able to track a 6.57 return on ad spend, which is really good, right? And when we see that the revenue tracked over here, which is $743,636.17, right? So that's one account over here, and let's look at another one. The next one that we're going to look at is, is this specific account over here. And as you can see, right, so we have a similar setup to the other ones. We just have a little more, we have a similar setup to the other one. So in terms of this one, we spent about $23,556, $256.69 on this account. So let's run through the campaign. So we have a retention campaign set up over here. Retention website conversion, ABO. And then we also have a retargeting campaign. So we're retargeting add to carts, view content, and we'll look at the specific audience. We'll look at the audience over here in just a moment. And then we also have prospecting, right? prospecting, we're going after new people, we're going after new customers that don't know about the company, that don't know about the brand, right? Looking at this, we can see that the return on ad spend on the prospecting campaign is a 1.46, complete payment return on ad spend. And then we also have a retargeting campaign, which retargeting is always going to have a higher return on ad spend than any other campaign that you're gonna run, right? Specifically for the reasons that, oh, they already know about you, right? And so all really what they need is just like an extra push to convert, right? So let's look at that retargeting. Let's look at the prospecting campaign, right? So we'll click on that. We'll look at the ad group in here, right? And then you can see that we've tested a lot of different audiences in here. Tested a lot of different audiences, but ultimately we left this one to still be running, which is a Telescope. Right, so let's look at that. Let's look at the setup of this specific campaign. So cool. One thing to mention is that whenever you're selecting like which placement, you're just gonna place, it's just gonna be on TikTok. You don't really want to focus on any of these other applications, owned by TikTok. But you see that this one is an open audience. An open audience, meaning let's see, we're targeting the United States entirely, and then you can see the different type of interest audience that we have over here. In addition to that, we also have hashtags that we're targeting here as well, right? So we have the hashtags that we're targeting in addition to interest targeting, right? It's very similar, like they're gonna be in a very similar category, right? So that's the setup of this specific campaign, and we're spending like $70 a day here. And then, so that's the setup there, right? Let's look at our retargeting campaign here. So when we look at the retargeting campaign, we can see that we have a custom middle of the funnel and bottom of the funnel. So let's look at that. Let's look at what that looks like. So in terms of this, we have a search 180 days. We have an initiate checkout that we're targeting. So this is a stack we're targeting. So we're essentially targeting like the whole funnel, from view content, from page view to view content to add to cart, initiate checkout, and search, right? And the reason why we do that is because we want our audience size to be large enough to retarget those individuals. Because if you were able to do like one of these, you'll notice that the audience size will shrink drastically. And what will happen is like your CPM is going to go through the roof, right? And you don't want that, right? So you're just going to be paying more. And so depending on how much data you have, unless you're spending like $100,000 a month, you won't have that. You won't have that sufficient data. So it's best to stack your retargeting audience in this specific order, like page view, view content, add to cart, initiate checkout, and search. 180 days, as far back look back window as possible. $40 a day is what we've set up on this specific account, right? And so that initially that's what we have. And obviously we have the creative over here as well, and we can kind of see also how, like, you can see the specific performance of the creative. And our best performing creative is going to be this ad over here. Now I can't really show you the specific ad, but that's our best performing creative, right? Hey, what the heck? Maybe I will show you that. Okay, so this is essentially like an unboxing of the specific product that we're selling over here. Unboxing works really well, right? Okay, so enough of that. Let's look at another account. So with this one, let's look at the performance. So you can see that in this one, we tested a bunch of different things as well. So we have like the prospecting campaign, which is the only one running right now. And then we had retargeting campaign at one time. We had another prospecting campaign, and then we had a smart shopping campaign, and then we had another smart campaign running, and then we had another retargeting campaign. And we just tested a lot of things in this specific account, right? And I won't dive into the specifics here, but you can kind of see that you always have to be constantly tested on TikTok to see performance. The main thing that you really want to be testing is like creative. You want to be testing a lot of different creatives, right? A lot of different creatives. And in terms of like best practice of the creatives, anywhere between 15 seconds and 30 seconds is typically what we see perform the best, right? So test a lot of different creative. Let's kind of dive into the specific setup of this account and see what that is. So we have broad ages 35 plus, and essentially the reason why we set that is because over time, that's what we identified to where purchases are coming from the most. Right, and so we set that targeting then we redefined our retargeting. And then let's look at this. Look at the creative that we're running. We have three creatives that we're running over here that over time we've identified to be successful, right? And then let's look at another one, the other ad group that we're testing. And this is the specific creative that we're testing over here too as well. It's essentially like the same thing, right? Cool, guys. I hope this, you guys are getting a lot of value on, on this essentially masterclass, showing you how to create the different campaigns, showing you the different audiences, showing you like the ads and the type of ads that typically work well on TikTok, right? And I hope you on TikTok, right? All right, cool. And essentially, I believe what we'll do, we'll create another video, just kind of get into even more specific. We'll get even more granular into the different type of videos, and we'll show you some like different video ads, right? One thing that I'm gonna leave you guys with here is this. So if you ever want some like video inspiration, right? What you have to do is come over here. I think it's super cool that TikTok does this. So you go to the creative library, I believe it is. Editor, creative library, editor, which I think is pretty cool. So, but that's not what we want. So we want to look at video insight. We did look at that. Creative inspiration. Cool. Creative inspiration is what I want you to look at. So if you ever want any ideas in terms of like what type of video should I be creating, you can get inspiration on TikTok, and it's super cool that they do this. There's no other platform. Meta doesn't do this, right? Meta doesn't do this as well. So I think it's super cool that TikTok has this. So all you come over here is you want to look at some inspiration. So you look at specifically at, keyword within your industry in a sense. So if this is a jewelry brand, so we want to come here and do jewelry. Jewelry. So let's look at this. What is this one? Ordinary jewelry. This one is high-end jewelry. So we can look at the high-end jewelry one, right? So that's the specific categories, and then boom, I just leave it at that. And then what you can do is like you can see other brands, the type of creative that are being produced out there, which I think again is super cool. So like you never have no reason to test new creatives because it gives you a lot of different creative, like typically like the top performing creative you can see here. The good thing as well is like they give you different trends. What are the trends that are currently like doing well? And you can see it over here. The number one trend right now is Coachella, right? And you can see like 41K posts and 909, that's crazy, 943 million views for Coachella, for this specific hashtag. So you can test these specific hashtags in your audience targeting, again, which I think is super cool. And you can also look at the different type of hashtags that are doing well. Right, so again, I think that is super cool that you can do that. Right, so for example, let's click on one of these. Let's see, let's click on this first one. You can see the analytics. You can see essentially how many likes this video got, comments, shares, the click-through rate, right? And it just gives you a lot of different like analytics based upon this, which I think again is crazy, right? No other platform does this. Right, so I think that's kind of one place where TikTok has like the upper hand compared to other platforms, right? Okay, good, cool guys. I'm gonna leave you guys with this. Go into the TikTok. I've walked you through how to create one, the different strategies in which we use. Go ahead and start creating, like create a business manager, create an ad account, link the pixel to your Shopify, and start testing different things, right? Now, in terms of budget, right? So typically I would advise a minimum of like 5K on TikTok, but if you have a lower budget than that, like between like 2K or 3K, it might take you a long time to see initial success, but I think it's still worth the test. I think it's still worth it just because you guys can see how low the CPM is on TikTok, right? So the small budget can still get you very, very far, right? Guys, I hope you've gotten tremendous value from this video. And if you did, please like the video, subscribe to the channel. And if you have any question, link them down in the comment section. And again, give me some recommendation. What would you guys like to see more about TikTok? Like throw them down in the comment section below, and then I'll be more than happy to create more videos like this. All right, guys, until next time.